going to be removing the belt from the carriage back here. And go ahead and work on this back one. This applies to all of them. First, I'll loosen up this tensioning screw just a little bit. This is enough so the pulley doesn't fall down, and just gives you a little more play on the belt. If the pulley does fall out, that's no big deal. Let's just make this so the camera can see it better. And that's just, you don't have to do any of this. It's just make this easier to see. Put your thumb above, or however you want to do it, above and below. It's held in by one side, on one side by this little clamp here. You don't have to take this off. It's held in place by a couple screws and nuts on the back there. But in order to remove that, you'd have to remove this whole X carriage, which I might do here. But I won't be removing this piece from this carriage at all. You can see the teeth right here. The teeth, the belt. Let's see. Well, it's kind of hard to see on the camera here with the focus, but it's actually going to press into. Let's see if I can do it. Just kind of presses into the between there and held in place, I guess, by the teeth and the friction also. But, and what we're doing with the belts inside there right now is we're just gonna, it's held in there, we're just gonna kind of push. This is held in place, it's kind of harder. That's gonna just come out just like that. Do that, we'll just put finger above and below and just push. Now it's free from there. And then you can remove either the bottom plate or the top plate. So you can remove one of these end caps, and you could replace the belt without doing that. First, actually, I think what to do is I'll remove, completely loosen all the tension. Remove all the tension and remove the tensioning screw. Sorry. And I can't. The screw's not long enough to push it out, but it's no big deal. And then the belt is looped around. There's a motor pulley down there, which we won't be seeing. I'm going to take the top half off. I've already got most of the screws out. I have to remove the 6 screws on the top or the bottom. I've already got 4 of them out. If you remove the bottom, you're going to have a fan possibly attached to the bottom. So you'll want to be careful when it's pulled very well quick. You might have to disconnect the fan from the board or from the splitter cable. And remove the cap of the side, wherever tower you're working on. Sometimes you might have to remove the top and bottom if you want to take the smooth rods out, which is what I'm doing. There's that screw, so to get rid of that or pull that out. So don't lose that. And might have to pry this out. It's here, but I can get my thumb in there, so I'm able just to pull it out. It's held in place, the top and the bottom. There wasn't any glue on these. If there is, maybe now, I don't know. There shouldn't need to be because they're in there. Here, they're in there just kind of by suction, but So there's that cap, smooth rod. And then pull this one out maybe. Sometimes if they're hard to pull out. If they pull out, you might be able to. Being this one did pull out, you might be able to get a pair of pliers and just pull the top out. Instead of taking, you won't have to take the bottom cap off or the other side of the cap off. And here's where the belt is attached. You could just probably do, you can't do that. So we're just going to pretend, and you got to put to get a new belt on, you'll have to pop this rivet out. Either drill it out, or you might have maybe get a pair of pliers in there and you'll have to replace it with a nut and a nut and bolt, and maybe a lock nut, so it doesn't, you don't have to worry about it later. And the pulley should be still good. If not, you'll have to replace that. So we're just going to pretend we've already done that, just to put the belt in. Try to make the video, the angle in the video better here. Let's see if we got this the right direction. Get the belt. You don't kind of line it up, but there's not really much to line up. You can't see anything, so you just have to try a couple times. Put on each side, and it kind of pulls in place, and then kind of see it. Maybe not, can't really see it at that angle, but it presses in. Like that. Let me wipe the grease off my fingers there. I'll do it again. So I'm going to remove it. And, can't get a good angle for video. To show you, it's just not that hard to. It should go in pretty easy. You have to put a little bit of pressure on it. It shouldn't take that long to do. Just pull it down a little bit so it's fully set in there. Maybe you might be able to pull it down lower. So once more, you don't have to. It doesn't matter where you're putting the belt, where on the belt. You can, as long as the belt is routed correctly once you install it. There's no sets. There's no marked portion or set spot on the belt. Again, just locks in there, slides in. This, I think I might have showed you already, but there is little teeth. There's teeth inside there. You can kind of see. It's not very clear, but reinstallation is pretty much the same. Just gonna make sure that this pulley holder here, and make sure it's got a proper name. I don't have that. I want to make sure this belt is lined up, not twisted, before you put the smooth rods in there. Put it back. There we go. Take a smooth rod, make sure the belts are in between the two bearings. Both. Can't really see there, but close to. Get the smooth rod, put in there as straight as possible so you're not damaging the bearings. If you push too hard, They will push the balls the balls in the bearing. I think there's 4 tracks of balls in there. Push them too hard. If they don't go in smoothly, don't do it. Pull it back out and try to line it up better, because those balls will come out and then the bearing will be broke, and possibly you'll probably be okay now, but one of those balls falls onto the main board while it's on and shorts to circuit out. It's not good for your board, and you'll have to replace the board and a bearing. It's a bearing replacement's not hard also, but the board's not cheap either. And you need to line up these smooth rods into the holes on the bottom. That's what I'm doing now. You're not going to be able to see that though. Just got to make sure they're sitting there, and you'll know. You can kind of look down in there, and you'll be able to see a little bit. And you just push them in, and they'll be flush, nearly flush with the top. I can't get the angle on there, but they shouldn't be sticking out past the top, obviously. Next, flip this belt down out of the way so we can push the top cap in. You have to line that up a little bit also. I'm trying to show it on camera, but I don't think it serves any purpose. Not be able to see much anyways. That in. When you press it down, it should sit flush just like the other ones. Go ahead and put the screws back in. Don't over tighten them. Tighten them enough. I don't like using a drill to tighten things down, even if it does have something to prevent it from over tightening. Risk plastic breaking or screw stripping out the threads. Next, we need to, I don't think you can see in here, I don't know if I can get that in there. You kind of see the pulley down there. That's on the motor. You'll need to loop that around first, and at the same time keep some tension on the belt so it doesn't fall back off. You might have to use a screwdriver or something not sharp, so maybe a screwdriver is not the best thing. Just be careful if you're using a flat head to push it around and loop it around that pulley. I got it there, a pair of tweezers, just the back end or the back side of the tweezers, or not the tip there, not too far. There we go. Then the sometimes tricky part, especially if you're trying to do this on camera, I think, is to push, make sure nothing's twisted, and keep enough tension, especially now that I flipped it inverted that way. Enough tension on the belt. Hold that up, and hopefully my screw's not it. I can move this. Just put the screw back in there while you're pressing that piece up. And it is an Allen key. I just have this Torx that happen to fit, so it seems to get a better grip and doesn't round out the screw if you need to on some things. And don't over tighten this. You over tighten it, the belt will probably not break, but this cap has, I don't have one to show you. There's a little plastic ring or to prevent the screw from pulling or going down, but it will break if you over tighten it. I've only seen it happen once. I'd be more afraid to break the belt at first. I guess that won't happen. It will be this plastic will deform. I'll show you since I have it out here. Just make sure I hold the pulley. kind of see that's plastic there. Not metal, unfortunately, but it's have to make compromises for price. And tighten it down. Use the other belts as reference. I'm not going to tune the belt or anything. I'm not going to do any deflection tests. If your print tighten it, prints come out good, they shift, and maybe you need to check your belts. There's some dimensions are messed up, and you know you just replaced the belt, so you messed with this tensioning screw. You know you can mess with the belt. No need to measure anything. And then we're back to good. You can tell it's, yeah. Put the top back on, good to go.